Hi you guys, welcome, välkomna, добро пожаловать. My name is Salmansa Rogers. Sorry for going MIA on you guys, but I am back now. My new old me is back. I'm back with my short haircut. For those that don't know, I've been rocking short hair since 2009, like on and off. And then COVID hit, all of the salons closed. So basically for 2 years, from 2020 to 2022, I had to grow out my hair, which I don't mind. I love it. I love the bob. It was cute. It was fun. But this is me. I in love with short hair. It's less work. I can go to the gym, be a sweaty monkey, do my thing. I don't have to wash my hair every day, time after a gym, almost practically every day. Which is amazing, and don't have to style it, don't have to use as much product, and yeah, I love it. And since I haven't done any videos for about 2 months, just want to quickly kind of like catch up with you guys, let you know what's been going on. So I did a minor changes on my channel. I will be doing long videos like this when I cover true crime, but I will also be posting YouTube shorts, and those shorts will basically be more of like what I do, my life, like my training and my glute tips, glute workouts, makeup, so a little bit like a lifestyle. I also want to quickly mention before we get into today's video that I start doing digital art or digital wall art prints on my Etsy shop. You can find pretty much anything and everything for every mood, especially now that the holidays are coming. Surprise your loved ones, or someone that moved into a new house or office, or just like if you feel like your apartment or any room in your house is kind of boring and needs some unique and cool art. Why not? This is a great gift. It's no shipping, so basically digital. You will receive a PDF file, and you can take that file to any printer, and you can decide any size and what have you. You can get individual prints, or you can do sets of 2. I will leave a link to my Etsy shop below in the description box. Okay, my darlings, so let's get into today's case. This is a pretty recent case, and I actually stumbled upon this case. I was watching the new version of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. It's, I believe, volume 3, episode 4. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to leave the detail in the description box, and you guys can always look it up for yourself. And I felt like I never heard of this case, first of all, and this happened in 2018. And I felt like, and then we'll start Googling it, and it's hasn't been that much coverage of this case. So I definitely felt like I need to, spread the word around and my little true crime community here on my page. So without any further ado, let's get into today's case. So today's case is from Melvindale in Michigan, and the year is 2018. And we are going to discuss the case of David Carter. At the time of this case, David was 39 years old. And a little background about David: he grew up with a younger sister, and his family dynamic was a typical, loving and a large family with cousins, aunts, uncles, and what have you. And David was very funny, and he basically lit up the room as soon as he entered a room, and he was good at entertaining people with his jokes. He was serious but funny. He knew when to be serious and when to, crack a joke or two, what have you. David and his younger sister were pretty close, especially when they were older. They could basically talk to each other pretty much about anything and everything. David and DJ's mother were separated. They were no longer together, but they were still pretty close, especially for DJ's sake and, co-parenting and what have you. I believe that DJ's mom was married to another man, but like I said, their relationship dynamic was still like very close, very amicable. It was no like bad blood between each other. You know, they could talk to each other, they call each other, talking about DJ or what have you. David worked full time at the factory in Michigan, and on the side, he had his own clothing line that he eventually wanted to have like his full-time thing. According to David's younger sister, it was around mid-March, David introduced this woman. Her name is Tamara Williams, but she goes by Tammy, so I will call her Tammy throughout this video. According to David, he knew Tammy from high school. They were kind of like, I would not say close friend, but I think they were run in the same circle of friends. You know, they were acquaintances. Like, you know, they knew of each other, but they were not like super close, what have you, in high school. And they actually met through a mutual friend's birthday party that year of 2018. And this time they actually hit it off. A few years after high school, they're now in their like late 30s, and you know, they hit it off, and one thing led to another. They start dating. The minute that David brought Tammy home to his family, David's sister didn't like Tammy at all. It was something about this woman, according to David's sister, that she just got a bad feeling. She didn't like her demeanor, the way she was acting, and throughout their 6 months of relationship, she was very possessive of David, according to David's sister. Like, if it was a family gathering or someone's birthday or like an event, Tammy would always sit kind of like in a corner and observe. And instead of interacting with the rest of the family or like get to know the rest of the family, she was mainly concerned about keeping an eye on David. So that brings us now to September 30th of 2018. And on that day, DJ, David's son, was supposed to be with David, his dad, for the weekend. And he was very excited, and he loved spending time with his dad. They were very close. Another thing I forgot to mention is that David was very athletic. He was into sports, and DJ was playing football. So, you know, they were like having their father and son kind of days when they went out, like do some football practice and what have you. So, and DJ looked up to his dad a lot. He loved his dad, and they had a very, very close bond. On that day, David's sister gets a text from David, and in that text it says that, "I'm so sorry, but I'm not feeling good. I might came over with something, and can you please tell DJ to not to come over, because I don't want to get him sick as well. I'm just going to rest up, and I'll talk to you guys later," what have you. Nothing seemed alarming at this point. DJ's aunt, David's sister, just told DJ that, yeah, you know, your dad is sick, and he told me to tell you to not come over because he don't want you to be sick as well, or what have you. So, but DJ had his phone charger at his dad's apartment, so he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go over there real quick to get the charger because I need it for my phone, and just say what's up to him. When DJ pulled up to David's apartment complex, the first thing he sees, it's Tammy, and Tammy is right outside where kind of like the dumpster is, and according to DJ, it looked like she was throwing out some trash. And she saw DJ pulling in. She recognized him. They kind of like, you know, said hi. The odd thing that DJ noticed after that is that instead of waiting for him, because, I mean, she knew that he was coming to see his dad, she sprinted back inside. And not only that, Tammy locked the door behind her. And now DJ's thinking like, didn't she see me? Like, why would she lock the door? Because she knew I was like right behind her, about to walk in. But luckily, DJ had a spare key, so he unlocked the door, walked in, and Tammy greeted him at the hallway, and she was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just here to get my charger." And then As soon as he kind of like walked into the hallway, he noticed two things: both the bathroom door, and the bedroom. So his dad's bedroom and the bathroom door next to the bedroom were closed, like the doors were shut. And that was kind of like an eyebrow raising for DJ, because he knew that his dad never locked or shut the doors. He found his charger, and before he about to leave, he's like, "Can I just go into the bedroom and see how my dad is doing? Just tell him hi, that I was here." And Tammy stopped him, and she's like, "No, no, no, he's not home. He actually went for a walk." And at this point, DJ's like confused, because it's September. It's about to be November, because it's September 30th. It's freezing cold outside. We're in Michigan. And according to his dad, he's sick. Why would a sick man just randomly take a walk? But something inside of DJ told him to kind of like, leave it be, don't argue with her. And he left. 3 days have now gone by, and no word from David or anything. No one knows where David is. So David's coworker decides to give David's sister a call and let her know that David hasn't been at work for 3 days now. And this is definitely alarming, because, like I said, this is David's full-time job, and he definitely would not miss his work for 3 days straight without telling anyone where he's at or why he's missing or whatever. So David's sister, together with her husband, decide to go over to David's apartment. Before they do that, she called David's cell phone, and it goes straight to voicemail. After that, she calls Tammy, and Tammy picks up, and she basically explained to Tammy, like, David been missing for 3 days. No one have heard nothing from him. Do you know where he's at? And Tammy's like, "Oh no, I haven't heard from him either. Last time I saw him was on Sunday." Upon arriving to David's apartment, David's sister calls her dad and explains the situation, and he decided to be on the way too. When they arrived to David's apartment, they could see David's car parked in his usual garage, like his garage spot. When they approached David's apartment door, they knocked on the door several times, like yelled for him. No one came to the door, no answer. So they decided to try the handle. And as soon as they kind of twist the handle, the door opened. And this made David's sister extremely worried, because David would never, ever leave his apartment door unlocked, especially if he's leaving somewhere for a long time, or if he even in the apartment, he always kept the door locked. Upon walking into the apartment, nothing is out of the ordinary, but as soon as they went into the bedroom, they noticed that the bed was undone. And that's extremely concerning, because David was a neat freak. He made sure that his bed was made before he left. He always made his bed every morning. And another thing that stood out is that the bed sheets in the closet, like next to the bedroom, it was a particular shelf where the bed sheet was kind of just rolled up and stuffed in the shelf. And that is also very alarming, because David always makes sure everything is kind of like neatly folded, nicely put. And, he kept his apartment very nice and neat. And they also noticed the biggest red flag ever is that the bed was kind of moved. The way they noticed that is because, in that apartment, in the bedroom, they had a carpet floor. Instead of like a wood floor, it was a carpet floor. And the dents on the carpet from where the bed was placed at, they were showing, So that means that someone moved the bed, and the old dents, basically, you can see them where the bed was supposedly at. And underneath the bed, they saw a black stain, which they concluded was blood. When they moved the sheets from the bed, they could also see a blood stain on the mattress. And David's father also noticed what looked like a bullet hole through the closet door. And as soon as they find all of these alarming pieces of evidence, they kind of step back and be like, okay, you know what? We are in the middle of a crime scene. We need to call the police ASAP. As soon as the police arrived, they cornered off everything, the whole apartment block, the whole apartment building. They looked through everything in the dumpsters. They looked through the whole apartment, around surrounding areas, to basically locate David and trying to figure out what was going on. And while the police were doing their investigation, David's sister called Tammy for the second time, and now she was very agitated, basically very angry and agitated and worried. And she was just like, you need to tell me where my brother is, because you're the one that last saw him, and you need to tell me where he's at right now. And Tammy was just nonchalant about it, and she said, like I told you, the last time I saw him was on a Sunday. I don't know where he's at. I haven't heard from him, and what have you. And another thing that also struck David's sister and David's family, the behavior that Tammy had. So you know that your supposedly boyfriend is missing. His whole family is worried, looking for him. They call the police. This is serious. They found blood stain in his apartment. And you out here not even caring, not even showing up, looking for him, showing the slightest interest of where he might be, grieving with the family and, offering your help to find him or what have you. And nothing. Instead, you just go by your day. She actually went to work like nothing. She posts several posts on her social media accounts like nothing happened. On October 1st, so the next day, after the family called the police and reported David missing, a lawnmower, like a landscape lawnmower, was out mowing the landscape, the lawn, what have you, the big plots of land. And he came across a sleeping bag, a blue sleeping bag, and the sleeping bag was kind of like wrapped in duct tape. And immediately the man felt like something was wrong with this scene, with this blue sleeping bag. So instead of like investigating further or opening it up, he called the police immediately. And as soon as the police arrived, they discovered a half body, like a man's body, only the legs and half of the torso, or like the stomach part. During the autopsy, they could see that this body belonged to a male, and that this male is approximately a tall man, approximately 6'2", 6'4", measuring his length by his legs. And they could see that he was either African American or like a mixed race of some sort. And they could also see that he had a pit bull tattoo on his left leg with like red eyes. So a pit bull with red eyes. And this was a very like unique tattoo. So they felt like this could definitely be, could definitely identify this body by that tattoo. So the coroner's office contacted the Michigan detectives, and they basically told them what they found. And as soon as the detectives heard this, they kind of felt like this might be David, because, this is the next day, this man went missing. And, so far the description of this body, the body parts are very similar to the description of David. So the detective called David's father, and he basically explained the situation, and he asked his father, does David have a tattoo of a pit bull with red eyes? And David's father said, yes, he does. This was definitely heartbreaking for the whole entire family and everyone that knew David. They somehow had some hopes that, David would still be out there somewhere. But now they realize that this is way worse than what they expected. Since Tammy was the last person to see David alive, and since she also was his girlfriend, she was basically the number one suspect. And police took her into custody and want to find out some more information about what happened between them, what happened when she last saw David, and what have you. When the family heard that Tammy was arrested, they were relieved, and they were so happy, because in their mind, it's 100% that she is responsible for this murder. And they were just, thrilled that, David would have some justice. But since they haven't located the rest of David's body and they basically don't know the cause of his death, they didn't have enough evidence to properly charge Tammy with David's murder, so they had no other choice but to release her. On October 10th, the authorities located David's severed head, and a few days after that, they located his upper torso. Now they had David's full body, and they could put all the pieces together, and they can finally find a cause of death. And the cause of death was basically one single bullet shot through his left, like underneath his left ear, pierced through that, and what came up on top of his head. That was the exit point. According to the autopsy report, David didn't have any defensive wounds that indicate that he didn't know what was coming, because they also found a kind of like a sleeping medicine in his system, so they believe that he might have, like, taking a nap when he was ambushed from behind and shot. So now with all this new information and new evidence, David's family definitely believed that, now Tammy will be arrested, and, David would have his justice, because, it's no one else that could have done this to him. David's family found out that Tammy has been on the run since October 18th of 2018, so approximately 2 weeks after David's murder. She's been on a run, and last time she was seen was at leaving a hotel in New York called the Neptunes. According to David's sister, what she believed might have happened to David was that the day before September 30th, so the day before that, they all went to see DJ's game. He had a game at his school, so the whole family was gathered, and David showed up a little bit late together with Tammy. They arrived together, but when they were seating at the bleachers, Tammy was sitting like a few bleachers up, and David was sitting with his family. And according to the rest of the family, they, kind of could see that it was some tension between David and Tammy. And Tammy was just basically sitting there. She was not cheerful. She was not like, enjoying the game. The only thing she was kind of like staring at the family, like with a blank stare, kind of like a death stare. So after the game, David's sister believed that David went home, and, Tammy went with him, and they probably got into a fight, and, David broke up with her there, and that she later returned back to his apartment because she had a spare key, and that she basically shot him. And the reason why she believed that is because that David had talked with the family and, his sister about breaking up with Tammy because he couldn't see them, going further. They've been dating for 6 months, but it's just like she was too much for him. She was like overly possessive. Wherever he went, she had to be there. Like, if you see David, you see Tammy glued right next to him. Like, he could not do anything without her. Like, if even going to his family, like, simple things like that, she had to go with him, even though she particularly maybe didn't like his family that much, or like she didn't seem to like his family because she was not socializing, but she was still going there with him. So yeah, so he felt like she was just too much, and he wanted to break up with her. Till this day, Tammy is still on the run. No one knows where she might be. According to the detectives, they have, of course, interviewed her family and friends, and according to them, they don't know where she's at. They haven't heard from her, which the detectives believe is bullshit, because someone is protecting her, someone is giving her shelter, someone is sending her money, because it's not possible for her to just, run away and be gone, And I'm going to leave some numbers down below in the description box if you have heard or seen, or if you know anything about Tammy or Tamara Williams, please contact those numbers. I'm also going to, like I said in earlier, leave the Unsolved Mystery episode that I watched. You can guys watch it as well, get more information from there. And I just want to quickly point out that Tammy is, according to her friends on Facebook, she is like a master of disguises. Like one day she could have a pixie cut, and then the next day she has long blonde hair. Next day she has red hair. The other day she has curly hair. Like she basically has a lot of wigs, so she's easily changed her appearance. So just FYI. But the most important thing that the police or the detectives is thinking that it's easy for them to find her is her unique tattoo. She has a huge tattoo of a rose, and it's basically kind of like a sleeve tattoo, cover half of her arm. And that's a very distinct tattoo. And if she did, try to remove that tattoo, she had to go to a tattoo parlor to do that. So if any tattoo artists have come across a female with a large sleeve, like a half sleeve tattoo, should definitely contact the authorities with more information if that's the case. According to David's sister, which kind of broke my heart when I heard that, was that not only did Tammy kill David, she also killed his mother, because you see, David's mother was diagnosed with cancer 6 days before David's murder. And after they found out David and the way he was murdered and all of that, it just broke his mother's heart. So she stopped going to her chemotherapy and what have you, and she shortly passed away after that. My heart goes out to David, his son, his sister, his dad, his mom, all of his relatives, his close family, friends. And I'm very sorry for your loss. And I hope that justice will be served very soon. And that's why it was no brainer for me to cover this case and make sure that the word goes spreads around, and whatever we can do to find Tamara. Please stay safe out there. As you guys can see, everyone can be a victim of domestic violence. Doesn't just happen to women, can happen to men as well. And David Carter deserves justice, and he definitely didn't deserve to be murdered like this by someone that he loved. Another thing that I want to point out that actually came across my mind right now that I might not have mentioned. But according to Tammy's friends, she is the type of woman that jumps from relationship to relationship, and the authorities believe that she might be in a new relationship. And just for the sake of that man, for his safety, it's very, very important that they capture her, basically, because the police thinks that she is most definitely capable of doing something like this again. Okay, my darlings, so that was it for today's case. If you do leave comments, nice in the comments. You never know what people are going through, especially you never know who's reading the comments, who's watching the video. Could be David's friends and family. You don't want them to read anything negative. You wouldn't want anyone saying negative stuff about your relatives. So, please think twice. And thank you so much for watching. Go check out my Etsy. Let me know what you guys think of this case. And if you do know anything, please, please, please contact the authority ASAP. By the way, before I leave, just want to say, you might notice that it's not Friday. From now on, I will not just post videos on Friday. I will actually post them. I will try to post one video a week, maybe even two. So they're just going to pop up randomly on your page. So make sure you have the notification buttons on so you never miss a video of mine. Thank you for watching. I see you next time. Ciao, cacao.